Hello everybody, I am the Black Sigma, or you could just call me Eric, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Justice for All. Nick? Yeah? Did you know that Von Karma's daughter is only 18? Just like me? Yeah, I know she's around your age. Why, you into BDSM? 'Cause you know I could hook you two up. Nah, why? I was just thinking about how strong she is, and pretty, and how she could do things to me with that whip. I mean, she's been in Germany all this time, all by herself, and she's so grown up. Yeah, and I'm sure she felt a lot of pressure from her father's reputation. And then you look at me, and, well, I'm the daughter of the master, but I'm still just a little girl. And on top of that, I'm the suspect in a murder trial. But I think you're really strong too, Maya, for all you've gone through. Good morning! The two of you look like you're doing well today. I'm happy for you. Hey, morning, Pearly. You'll be safe today, Mystic Maya. Huh? What do you mean? My mother is coming today to show her support. Yeah, that's right, Pearly. Hey, Pearls. You wouldn't be upset if, like, I don't know, I said that your mother helped plan a murder of an innocent man? Yes, Mr. Nick? Do you think you could do me a big favor? Could you channel Mia today too? Just don't solicit any weird guys who make, or guys or girls, any weird people in general that, make inappropriate art. 'Cause, again, you're 8. Huh? I was sort of hoping to sit in the audience today and watch. Please, it's very important to me. I don't feel confident enough to win without her help. Mr. Nick, that's enough. You can't show weakness in front of the person you love. Pearly, not this again. Please, can you do this for us, Pearls? Alright, I'll do it. I'll do it for Mystic Maya's sake. See you later then. Leave you two to your alone time. Thank goodness. Nick? This way. Pearls won't be able to see today's trial. What do you mean? What's going on? Phoenix had ulterior motive. When a medium is channeling a spirit, they are no longer conscious of anything, other than maybe their ability to control the spirit if they're strong enough, but that means Pearl won't get to see the trial, and won't know about her mother's arrest. Oh, Phoenix. That's dirty and underhanded, even for a lawyer. Court is now in session for the trial of Maya Fey. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Let's start already. Mr. Phoenix Wright, I look forward to tonight's news with great joy. The image of your defeated face will be transmitted all over the world. All over the world, huh? Sounds like you've made quite a name for yourself, Phoenix. Don't be foolish, you foolish fool wearing the foolishly foolish clothes. Aren't they like several sizes too small? Like they belong to an 8-year-old girl? Regardless, the famous one is me. I'm the prodigy who's never lost a case since becoming a prosecutor 5 years ago. Naturally, the world's eyes are on me as I conduct my first trial in this country. That's nice, Miss Von Karma. glad to see you're in such good spirits today, Miss Faye. It's true what they say. Women really are scary when they fight. Phoenix, that's... okay. Now then, a very interesting theory was presented during yesterday's session. That the defendant could have left the channeling chamber, correct? Yes. And this key is proof of that. This key, the only key to the channeling chamber, was not where it should have been. Your Honor, I would like to say one thing before we begin. Alright, let's hear it. The prosecution has determined that from the time of the murder to the time of the arrest, the defendant did indeed leave the room at one point. What? But, Miss Von Karma, then how do you explain this picture? Are you saying then that the person in this picture is not the defendant? I never said that wasn't the defendant. Then what is the meaning of this? All I am saying is that Maya Fey, after killing the victim, exited the room. And I believe that is when she dropped this key. Can you substantiate your claim? Isn't that what I'm here for? The prosecution would like to call the defendant's aunt, Morgan Fey, to the stand. Just as I suspected, Aunt Morgan. Poor Mia, she seems really torn by this. Witness, name and occupation. My name is Morgan Fey, and I am a spirit medium, in a manner of speaking. I'm sorry, but what do you mean, in a manner of speaking? I don't think anyone really cares. Now then, after the murder took place, you kept watch over the defendant, correct? Yes, that is correct. I performed the spirit-severing technique on Mystic Maya then. Spirit-severing technique? A technique to remove a spirit from a body and send it back to the other world. That is... Yes, that is... You, be quiet. Now, witness. Something happened while you were performing this technique, correct? Yes, that is correct. Your accent's a bit heavy considering your objection sound once more. What in the world could have... Mystic Maya. She escaped from the room. What? And here we come to the heart of the matter. Maya Fey, while in a possessed state, managed to escape from the channeling chamber. We're starting to be more Russian than German. Order, order, order. Ms. Fey, please testify to the court what happened during that time. Your Honor, I will try my best. I think someone just upped the ante on this trial. After we heard the what the fuck was that? I combined like all three of the females' voices in the room. After we heard the gunshots, those two broke the door open and entered the chamber. I requested that Mr. Wright and the other lady please contact the police. A pistol was hanging from Mystic Maya's hand and she was in a daze. Then, quite suddenly, she thrusted me away from herself and escaped from the room. With great strength, she hit the base of my neck and I fainted for a short while. I'm afraid I have no knowledge of where she went after that. But you performed the spirit... why have you hidden this until now? I did not wish to cause more trouble for Mystic Maya. However, I must correct falsities when they arise. That's right. She is simply correcting a falsity, Mr. Wright. Why is she making it a point to take a stab at me? Never mind. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. My aunt is a very sly and smart person. Other way around, though. It's going to be hard for us to find a crack in her testimony. Wow, I'm losing my ability to read in my death. Heard gunshots. We two broke the door open, entered the chamber. Requested that Wright and Lotta leave. Pistol was hanging from her hand. She was in a daze. During our investigation, you stated that you struck the defendant on the head, and this strike caused Maya to lose consciousness. Do you stand by this statement? I'm afraid I don't. The statement I gave you was a lie. But why would you lie about something like that? It is very painful for me to say this, however, the witness was lying to cover for the defendant. She was covering for Maya? So you were covering for the defendant? Well, yes. It was only later that I was informed of what had occurred. That the renegade Mystic Maya had done something very unexpected. Something unexpected? What, pray tell, did she? This witness didn't and couldn't have seen what happened. If you want to know what this unexpected thing was, there is always later. Yes, very well. Why does it suddenly feel like there's a rock in the pit of my stomach? Now, witness, continue with what happened. You just covered up so many things by interrupting with your whip. That... Okay. Was it really that easy for her to escape from you? I'm ashamed to admit such a thing, however, yes. You're physically larger and stronger than the defendant. No way she could have escaped from you. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Phoenix Wright? What about this picture? Remember that at the time, the defendant was not physically Maya Fey? Ugh. Growing old is such a mysterious thing. Trust me, I know firsthand. Basically, Mystic Maya was still in the body of the nurse. If she had run away, wouldn't you have given chase? Would have, however... Great strength hit the base of her neck and she fainted. Dizzy, collapsed, unconscious, about 10 minutes. Almost certainly went somewhere in that time. Have no knowledge of where she went after that. Is that because you were unconscious? Phoenix. Ask stupid questions, get stupid answers, but sure. While you were unconscious, you have no idea where the defendant went? Would think that's obvious, good sir. If that's true, then how can you know for sure that the defendant left the channeling chamber at all? Now that you mention it, I have to wonder myself. It's true that this witness is not able to confirm this. But the key word here is this witness. What do you mean by that? It means she has another witness up her sleeve, that's what. Looks like Ms. Von Karma is ready to move on to her next witness. I can't see a crack in her testimony. What should we do? For now, we should try and get more information out of her. After we get more information from her, may be able to use it to her advantage. Sure, I'll press every statement, but... You know, the two of us, Lotta and I, requested that we call the police. Was it really necessary for us to leave? Yeah, one of us could have stayed with you while one went to call the police. There was another reason you wanted both of us out of that room, wasn't there? You must... No. Spittle. You must testify. Why did you chase us out of the room? I simply did not wish for there to be more victims. The lives of both the good sir and the camera woman may be in danger, is what I thought to myself. Well, that was very noble of you, Ms. Fay. This is bad. Now people have a good impression of her and a bad one of us. Looks like she caught us napping. That's my aunt for you. That's enough. From what I can tell, there's nothing wrong with this witness's testimony. And from what she has said, we can establish that Maya Fay did leave the chamber. Hope this isn't gonna come back and bite us in the butt. Now let's take the next logical step and ask, where did the defendant go after leaving the channeling chamber? Yes. That should be— be quiet, you! Now then, what the escapee had done was she had gone to speak with a certain person. She went to speak with someone? Who was it? The prosecution calls Ms. Miney, who was sleeping in the side room at the time. Miney. Think you can see where this is headed? Sure can. Witness, name and occupation. Okay, so my name is, Miney. I'm, researching, parapsychology stuff at the, university. What is this parapsychology? And why did you mispronounce university? It's because she mispronounced parapsychology last time, Your Honor. Let's see, it's I guess most people call it as cult stuff. Even if that's what most people call it, I can't say I understand what it means. Then I suggest you go home and research it yourself. Yes, sir. Now then, Miss Miney, After the murder took place, you spoke with the defendant, Maya Fay, is this correct? I guess. If that's the case, then let's hear your testimony. That is all right, isn't it, Your Honor? Yes, sir. For the love of all things good, Your Honor, have some spine for my sake. So, what's your testimony? When the channeling started, I was, sleeping in the side room. A little later, someone came into the room, really suddenly. It was oh my god, totally my sister. I, hadn't seen her in, so long. I was so happy in, a sad way. My sister, she, told me something, totally terrible. Now hold your horses, young lady. You're saying that the person that entered was your sister? Don't you mean the defendant, Maya Fay? Really now, Your Honor, Maya Fay was still in the middle of channeling at the time. Are you saying that the spirit, was the spirit of this witness's sister? Yes, Miney. She was a nurse at Dr. Gray's clinic. Oh, well, this is... Witness? Yeah? In your test... What the fuck? I was doing the judge for Von Karma. I'm losing my shit. In your testimony, you mentioned a terrible thing. Why don't you tell the court what this terrible thing was? I'm sure we'd love to hear about it. Do I totally, really have to? Of course. Ms. Meeny Miney, please. Eeny Miney. My sister, like, this is what she said to me. That was no accident. I was drugged with sleeping pills. I was murdered by that person. So you say. That's why I took my revenge. It's only fair, isn't it, Eeny? Right. She took her revenge. Are you sure that's what she said? Yes. There, are you satisfied, Your Honor? I still can't believe it. I can't believe that a spirit would go so far as to use a medium to get revenge. It is a bit hard to swallow. Much like, anything that Phoenix Wright says. Got him! However, all the evidence and testimonies point to this truth. The end. What do you think, Mr. Wright? Certainly seems like all the loose ends are accounted for. This testimony just now. Is it all made up? Is it just one huge lie? Of course it was, Phoenix. Mia, what do you mean? It's well constructed, but that's all it is. But even the most well-spun lies can be undone. We can do it, Phoenix. Let's find that one loose thread and unwind this tapestry of lies. Your Honor, there is room for doubt, so the defense will cross-examine this witness. We believe that our cross-examination will reveal the real truth behind this murder. Yet again, the foolish fool spouts out more foolishly foolish drabble. I wonder if you'll make this one more entertaining than the last. Right. So, when the channeling started, you were sleeping in the side room because of your sesame allergy, was it? Like, that's right. There were sesame seeds, like in the lunch they served that day. I had this premonition that it was gonna be a totally seedy day. Ugh. I'm the only one that missed the boat here. Anyway, you were taking a nap, something happened while you were sleeping. Do you know the time? Like, maybe little before 11 a.m.? Something like that, I think. The murder wasn't that early, was it? Oh, I don't have a time of death? Why do I not have a time of death? 11 a.m.? Yeah, like, my stomach is totally ready for, like, food. Oh, that's what time she thinks it currently is. No, I think you misunderstood me. I'm not asking what time it is now. I meant what time was it when the someone came into your room. Oh, so, like, that's what you meant. Like, you should have been more, like, clear about it. Sorry, my bad. No, it's okay, like, it's really... That's it? Why'd you stop mid-sentence? Did I? So, like, what was I talking about again? Never mind. Witness, about this person who entered the side room. Totally your sister. You absolutely sure? I guess? You guess? Was it or was it not your sister that entered? Like, I don't know. I mean, like, I totally don't know your sister at all, Mr. Smith. First off, my name is not Mr. Smith. Second, I am an only child. But more than that, she's managed to mess up the question with her answer. Well, Mr. Wright, the defense rests. Well, that was a colossal waste of our time. Now then, witness, how did you feel when you saw Miss Miney?
Hold it!
You were happy in a sad way? Yeah, like, I mean, it was like my sister. Wouldn't most people here react with surprise at seeing a dead loved one alive again? But, like, maybe if I was, like, someone who didn't know about, like, the occult. But, like, I know all about the Korean channel and technique. The point here, the witness immediately recognized it was her sister. Yeah, like what she said. Question it further, why not? So you really didn't think anything strange of the whole encounter? No. Wasn't any reason to think anything was strange, but... Ow! Don't keep badgering her. You know the phrase objection? Could you try using that once in a while? Mr. Wright, this question of what the witness felt when she saw her sister, is it really that important? Oh, Your Honor, I think it is. Because the first thing you'd recognize, other than the fact it was her sister, would be the fact she's covered in blood. It is very important, although I haven't quite figured out what it is yet. I've got to bluff for now and make it seem like I know what I'm talking about. Alright, Mr. Wright. Ms. Miney, please amend your testimony. I misspoke. Like, okay, I'm like totally cool with that. Wasn't like scared at all. And like, her costume looked totally like normal. So there was nothing odd at all about your sister's appearance. Like, yeah, nothing was like weird. Yeah. It's impossible. Her costume looked totally normal. Yeah, about that.
Objection!
There was a very well... That was a very well-spun lie, Ms. Eni. What are you babbling about this time, Mr. Phoenix Wright? It's well constructed, but that's all it is. Stealing my lines now, are we, Phoenix? Ms. Mimey, may I remind you of what you said? You said that there was nothing strange about your sister's appearance. Like, yeah, and? But I don't think that's what you were thinking at all. Take a look at this picture. This is a picture of the sister you met. I would think that even you would be surprised if someone appeared before you like this. The blood spray. Ms. Miney, why did you not include the blood you saw in your testimony? If you were really testifying and not lying, you would have noticed it right off the bat. Order. Ms. Miney, what is the meaning of this? Ms. Miney? I'm thinking, don't interrupt me! That? And what are you stammering about, Your Honor? That witness, her personality did a complete 180 there. Lots of people do that when they get on the stand, though. First of all, calm yourself, witness. Like, I'm sorry, I, didn't mean to snap. Now hurry up with the testimony. If you please. The judge still looks a little shaken up. what a help he's gonna be here. After the murder, part 2. Like, the side room was, like, kinda dark, you know? So, like, the costume is, like, purple, right? The blood totally blended right in. And I, like, persuaded my sister it wasn't, like, right to do something like that. And then, like, I took my sister to the channeling chamber. Yes, now I see. And you have given us a clear reason for why you didn't notice the blood. You think? Like, thanks, Gramps. You're satisfied, Mr. Wright. Alright, I guess not. Very well, you may question the witness. Okay, so... side room was dark? Really? Thought it was pretty bright in there? Don't push your subjective opinions onto this court. Like, that's right. How is my statement any more subjective than Ms. Miney's? You're such a hopeless cause, witness. You may feel free... You're such a hopeless cause. Witness, you may feel free to ignore this trite little man. Like, okay. Ugh, can't breathe. So, like, the costume is, like, purple, right? The blood totally blended right in. You didn't see the blood? Like, yeah. But she must have had the gun with her at the time as well. That's, Are you going to tell me that you didn't notice the gun either? I, like, totally didn't. All I was looking at was, like, her face. Continue. Persuaded her it wasn't right. And what was your sister, Ms. Mimi Miney, like at the time? Well, she was, like, totally flipped out because she just shot Dr. Gray. But I think, like, she knew. She, like, said she did something really bad. And, like, she said she wanted to go with me to, like, apologize to Ms. Morgan. Did Mimi's spirit really say all that to you? Like, yeah? And then you took her to the channeling chamber. Was your sister calm by that time? Like, I guess so. I guess maybe, like, taking her revenge on Dr. Gray, like, made her feel a lot better? I'd like to feel a lot better too, Mr. Phoenix Wright, the sooner the better, she says with her whip at the ready. And, like, Ms. Morgan was the only one in the channeling chamber, you know? May I ask you one more thing, Ms. Miney? Like, sure. Was there anything you found strange, unusual, or just out of place? Something out of place? Huh? Like, when do you mean? When? When you... either were going to the crime scene because it'd be in broad daylight and she'd have noticed the thing going on with her sister. Also, hello. Lighting from... light shining directly from my windows. I didn't notice that. Bright blue spot on my webcam. Sure, that was fun. But, either when she was going to the crime scene, she'd have been in broad daylight, or when she arrived, she would have found the door busted down. But when you were going to the channeling chamber, like, no, nothing strange. She answered rather quickly. Now what? Press harder. Think harder. I know you can remember something. I, like, totally can't. That's not good enough. You have to explain yourself clearly to this court. Do you think, Mr. Wright, And whether or not there was something odd on the way to the channeling chamber is all that important? I ask because it is very important. Not that I know where I'm going with this. Very well, Ms. Miney, if you will, please include a statement about this in your testimony. Like, I don't get why, but okay. I, didn't see anyone on the way to, the channeling chamber. Didn't see anyone? What an oddly specific statement. Try to remember that time. Oh, I remember I didn't see anyone. Didn't see anyone on your way to the channeling chamber. But at the time, Pearl had broken the urn. Pearl was on the way to the channeling chamber at the time. There's no way that Eni wouldn't have passed her. I finally found the fault, or I guess in your case, the crack in your perfect little lie. Take a look at this urn. Urn? There are cracks. Do you see them? So, what does that prove? Who cares about some worn-out old urn? Yeah, I already, said I didn't see, anyone on the way to the channeling chamber. Didn't I, totally say anything about, an urn, did I? Looks like you still don't understand. I propose that if you had really been walking along the winding way at that time, there was no way you could have not seen this person. I'd like to introduce someone to you. This is Ms. Morgan Fay's daughter, Pearl Fay. Yes? And how is this child relevant? It just so happens that at the time of the murder, Pearl was playing in the center garden. Oh. And she just happened to break this urn. Oh. Oh! Wait. She broke the urn? Yep, she accidentally knocked it over with her ball. And Pearl was the one who put it back together, while sitting right in the middle of the winding way. What? Ms. Miney. Pearl was there in the winding way at the time. She was hard at work putting the pieces of the urn back together, you see. If you couldn't see that while you were walking, I'd have to declare you legally blind. Grr. I think I've sufficiently proven one thing, Ms. Miney. You are a masterful liar. Ah! Mr. Wright, you need to watch what you say. The one who needs to watch what she's saying is this witness. So, Ms. Miney, tell us the truth. About what? About how this episode is getting to be way too long. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.